Hi, I'm Paul Stringfellow, CTO at Gardner Systems, and welcome to our latest CTO Insights video. Joining me on this occasion is Grant Caley from NetApp. Hi, Grant.
Hi, Paul.
Nice to have you with us.
Thank you.
And so I suppose before we start, you're a CTO yourself, so maybe a little bit of an introduction, who you are and what it is you do.
Yeah, so Grant Caley, obviously from NetApp. I've been in the company for over 20 years now, and I do a chief technologist role. So I get to talk about all things NetApp to our customers, to our partners, and really kind of help them understand how NetApp's technology can really help them get better business outcomes with what they're doing.
Well, we'll kind of dive into kind of some of the conversations you have as a CTO in a little while. But just maybe for people who aren't familiar with NetApp, I mean probably most people watching this have maybe at least heard of NetApp. But for those who aren't familiar, a little bit about what NetApp do, who they are, their history, and what they're doing today.
Yeah, so we've been around since, it's quite a long time now, 1992. Started off doing data storage, expanded that into multi-protocol unified storage, the first company to do that natively, and then expanded that kind of proposition into the public clouds as well. So not just doing enterprise data storage on premise, we moved into doing it into AWS, Azure, and Google, and in fact the only storage vendor that do that, and have a consistent platform across both. But then we really kind of started to look at what can we help our customers with on top of that? So now we help customers do discovery, classification, compliance, and privacy of their data. We help them look at observability across their infrastructure. And also we bring a range of cost optimization capabilities to both data on-prem and cloud, but also to compute in the cloud, billing in the cloud, and really help customers look at those angles. And actually one of the interesting things that we've done recently is really looking at how we help customers secure their data, particularly because data storage at the end of the day is the last line of defense from all the cyber attacks. So NetApp as a company is much more than just what most people think of us, which is probably filers and NAS storage. We've really expanded out from that over the last decades.
Yeah, I can't believe within the first minute we've got to the word filer. But
I thought I'd throw it in there just so people, those from the old days, can remember NetApp in that respect.
Yeah, those who've been around long enough know what a filer is.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting, I think, what you've just talked about, and I think it's kind of reflective of the world we live in today. So that sounds like I'm going to go to some big conversation about the world we live in today. But we start that conversation out about storage, and I think traditionally people have looked at storage as, well, how fast is it? What does my RAID array look like? How do I make sure it's resilient and it's always operational? But actually, you talked a lot there about data and the value of data, and that feels like a bit of a shift, doesn't it? In that we're maybe, while things like performance and availability, of course, have still got lots of importance to people as they consider where they're going to put their data. But is that shift that you're seeing, that the conversation maybe is less about that, but more about what you can do with the data and the information that you're placing on that storage?
Yeah, I mean, I think, all the things you just talked about, RAID of data, performance, all that kind of stuff, it's almost a given nowadays for the data storage you're buying. The flash boom, if you like, of really changed the kind of performance landscape. But what's really now important is actually how customers can, I use the term wrangle their data, because actually it's not just storing the data, it's how can they integrate that data, the data sets, into the applications, into things like AI, and how can they actually make that a much faster go-to-market capability, a much more secure capability, and a much more cost-optimized capability as well. But to do that, you need to integrate all these kind of features which have been around for a long time through APIs into the applications, into the AI data pipelines that people are building. And also you need to be able to do that across on-premise and the public clouds. If you can stitch all that together, which is what NetApp do, and we used to talk about it in terms of calling it the data fabric. We don't tend to use that term quite so much. We now talk about really calling it unified data management, because it can be the same data management across any environment, on-prem and cloud. And having that type of capability is much more the conversation nowadays. It's, data storage, people assume it'll be fast enough, it's protected, it's got business continuity, it's got disaster recovery. But uniquely being able to do that, not just in the data center, but in the clouds, and then API drive things like cloning of data, instant snapshotting, instant restoring of massive data sets, those kind of things really drive value into what customers are trying to do, rather than just act as a kind of a layer for storing your data.
Yeah, and I think make an important point actually about the kind of the table stakes almost of, we should expect all storage vendors of a certain quality to be able to do these kind of things.